Hi friends, it's Mrs. Huber. I hope you're all doing well. So for today's writing activity, I thought that I would do a lesson with you to help you and to show you the different ways that we practice writing in kindergarten. Now I know we have talked a lot about how writing is very challenging and how we have a hard time writing because we don't know how to spell some of the words. But in kindergarten, what we work on is sounding out the words, okay, thinking about the sounds that we hear in the words, and those become the way we spell our words. It doesn't always have to be the exact correct spelling. So if you're at home with mom and dad, I want you to practice, or grandma and grandpa, whoever you're home with, I want you to practice sounding out the words and writing them on the papers. Okay, so you just finished listening to a story about spring, and the directions are to think about what are some things that you like to do in the spring. And right now, as I'm watching my boys out my window, they are riding their bicycles in the backyard. So maybe you like to ride your bike. So if I was going to write ride my bike, okay, I would think about the sounds that I hear in the words. And remember to use spaces between our words. I'm just writing down some of my ideas. This isn't going to be my final paper. So when I think about ride, I know that R says I'd. Remember, spaces between my words. My bike. Okay, ride my bike. Good. Something Mrs. Huber enjoys doing in the springtime is I love to plant flowers. So if you like to plant flowers, maybe with your parents or your grandparents, okay, maybe that's something you enjoy doing. So I'm going to write plant flowers. Plant. Plant. Spaces between my words. Flowers. Flowers. Plant flowers. Maybe you like to fly a kite in the springtime. Okay, let's practice fly. A kite. Fly a kite. Okay, maybe you like to go to the park in the springtime because it's so beautiful outside. Okay, so if I would say go to the park, go is one of our sight words. Go to the park. Park. And what do we remember that goes at the end of our sentences? Good. We need to have punctuation marks. We need to make sure that we have periods at the end of our sentences. But if we're going to use two of our ideas, we can put the period at the end of the final sentence. But just always remember, at the end of your sentence, you must have a punctuation mark. Okay, so now I wrote a few different ideas down. You don't have to use these ideas. You can use any ideas that you would like. So I know it's hard to print out some things at home. So this is something that I just used a ruler with, and I drew lines, and this is where I'm going to do my work. And this is something that you can do at home too, mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, brother, sister, whoever's helping you out. You can help to create a paper yourself. Very simple and easy, just like that. So I have a sentence starter, okay, in the spring, all right? You can try to sound it out yourself. Your parents can help you with this one. There are a lot of our sight words that you have been learning that you can write them down because you might already know how to spell them. If you don't, your parents can give you this. But I want you to try to write the other reasonings why you like spring on your own. Okay, so let me get a different pen. Get my pencil. All right, so here I'm going to remember what goes at the beginning of a sentence. A capital, right? And I'm always going to start over on the left side of my paper. And I'm going to have a capital I. So we have in. I'm going to use spaces between my words. The spring. Ing. We've talked about the ing ending in some of our words, and those letters are I, In the spring, I have enough room, so I'm going to write at the end. If you don't have enough room, you can always go down to next line. In the spring, I like to, all right, and I'm going to say I like to plant flowers and ride my bike. Okay, so I'm gonna say in the spring, I like to, remember space is plant. This is where I'm gonna try spelling all the words on my own. And only write down the sounds that you hear. You might not hear all of them, and that's okay. In the spring, I like to plant flowers. I don't think I have enough space, so I'm going to go down to the next line. Flowers. Flowers. In the spring, I like to plant flowers. Some of you might just choose to do one reason, and that's okay. And if you wanted to do one reason, this is where you would put your period. But I'm going to use our sight word, our high frequency word, and when I'm talking about more than one thing. So I want to say what I like to do after I plant flowers. In the spring, or also, I like to plant flowers and use a high frequency word, and A-N-D. And I'll send you a list of all those high frequency words that you can use too, just like the words on our word wall that we use to practice when we're not sure how to spell those words. In the spring, I like to plant flowers and, I said ride my bike. So I'm going to ride, space, I got enough room over here, I'd, next line, my, finger spaces, bike, B, I, K. And what goes to the end of my sentence? Period. Good job. Make sure I have a period at the end of my sentence. So let's read that. In the spring, I like to plant flowers and ride my bike. Very good. So once you've completed doing your writing activity, when up in the space above, I want you to draw me a picture of what you like to do in the spring and try to label those pictures. So if I was drawing a picture, I should be in the picture and I should draw some of the things that I like to do. Okay, so if there's Mrs. Huber, if I'm in my picture, right, I'm drawing my picture. Remember, Mrs. Huber is not Miss Slade, so I'm not the best drawer, but I try my best. Okay, here's Mrs. Huber, and I like to plant flowers, so maybe over here, I'm gonna draw myself with some flowers that are growing. I like to plant flowers, especially now. There's so many pretty flowers that are growing or popping up out of my ground. So I like to plant flowers and I like to ride my bike. Ooh, no, bicycle, that's gonna be really, really tricky to draw. And I apologize if my bike is not the best, but I know a bike has wheels, right? And I know that they connect, right? And they have some spokes in the middle. Right, and I know there's a seat. I'm not gonna do my best, so here's my seat. And then there's some handles. Not my best bicycle, and I do have to connect over here somewhere. So here's my bike, and I'm gonna label, that's a terrible picture. I'm gonna label my bike, B-I-K. So that's a label. Remember, labels are just words that describe what's inside the picture. And then this would be me. So I can write my name. I can write me. I can say Mrs. Huber. Okay. Or I can say the word me because that's who's in the picture. And over here, I like to plant flowers. I'm going to say flowers. Okay. And then when I'm finished, I'm going to color in my picture. So my picture matches what I just wrote all about. Okay, so I'm gonna have you try this on your own. Remember, your parents, you can give them the sentence starter. In the spring, I like to, because most of those are high frequency words. But I want them to try to tell me what they like to do in the springtime all on their own. Okay, and I'd like you to take a picture of it, and I'd like you to send it to me when you are finished. Don't forget to color, and remember, all things are not one color, right? In real life, things are many, many colors. So details aren't just the drawings, but it's also the colors. So think about what you want to add in your picture. Okay, remember we should have capitals, spaces between our words, and a punctuation mark at the end. Our picture matches what we're writing about. Okay, boys and girls, do your very best. I can't wait to see your pictures.